Chapter 51. Alarming the Supreme Court. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Western Regions, Supreme Court's West Courtyard. In a large hall, an old man with white hair stood on the stage. He looked at the men and women below with a solemn expression. "What do you think about Xianxia City, Yangzhou?" the white-haired old man asked. "Dean." A burly man stood up. "Ho Xing, speak." The white-haired old man said. "Dean, the thing about Xianxia City is not credible." Ho Xing said. "Why?" the white-haired old man asked. "First, the rumors of the cultivators are exaggerated. Last time, some people said that the demon was in chaos and harmed all beings. As a result, it was just a little demon who had only reached Qi practicing. Second, Luo Luyen, the master of Jade Lake Palace, was a student of my God's West Academy. She went to Jade Lake Palace because of her mediocre talent and hopeless promotion. Can she save Xianxia City and slay the evil spirit? Dean, do you believe it? Third, as for the mysterious immortal, I think it is nothing. Luo Luyen simply creates it to confuse everyone. Fourth, Elysium only appears in legends, not true at all. What Buddhism and Taoist expert, all of it must have been made up. Based on the above 4 points, Luo Luyen has ulterior motives, and there is a conspiracy. I am afraid that those evil spirits are not dead at all, but they are in harmony with Luo Luyen and ruin the foundation of the Supreme Court. Dean, your disciple feel that we should send an army to suppress Jade Lake Palace, arrest Luo Luyen, torture her severely, and force her to tell her evil intentions." Ho Xing finished, bowing to the ground respectfully and saluting. Dean, disciples seconded. Then, several men and women stood up, bowed down to the ground, and asked to be dispatched. The white-haired old man stood in place, closing his eyes and thinking deeply after a long time. He opened his eyes and looked at a woman in blue. "Mu Bing, aren't you good friends with Luo Luyen?" "Why don't you talk?" the white-haired old man asked. "Dean, you already have the answer in your heart. It's the same whether the disciple says it or not." Mu Bing said. "Oh, tell me about it," the white-haired old man asked. "Dean, if I stand up to defend Luo Luyen, it will only affect the dean's judgment. At the same time, it will also allow Ho Xing to take the opportunity to criticize." Mu Bing said. "Nonsense, Ho Xing is not that kind of villain. I see that you have bad intentions and used the opportunity to frame me. Dean, please punish her." Ho Xing shouted. "Presumptuous." The white-haired old man said lightly, and Ho Xing shut up immediately. "Go on." "Yes, Dean. What Ho Xing said is all nonsense. First, he pursued Luo Luyen but was ruthlessly rejected, and he had a grudge. He took this opportunity to frame Luo Luyen. Second, the Xianxia City matter, is it right? How can a small sect be able to shake the foundation of the Supreme Court? Ho Xing exaggerated his words and intended it to be sinister. Third, as a disciple of the Supreme Court, it is taboo to draw conclusions without knowing the truth. The above 3 points, the dean must have already understood them. Mu Bing said. When Ho Xing heard these words, his fists creaked. Those eyes were extremely resentful, as if they were about to swallow Mu Bing. Fearing the majesty of the dean, he did not dare to attack. When the white-haired old man heard this, he stroked his long beard and nodded slightly. "In your opinion, what should I do with this matter?" "That is naturally to send someone to investigate everything clearly and then draw conclusions. As for the evil attack, no matter whether it is false, we must tell this matter to the Supreme Court and take precautions as soon as possible." Mu Bing said. "Huh," the white-haired old man laughed and looked satisfied. Good. You deserve to be a member of the Mu family. This old man will send you to investigate this matter." "What do you think?" said the white-haired old man. "The things arranged by the dean, the disciple will complete it the best I could. Mu Bing clasped her fists calmly, without sorrow or joy. As if everything had nothing to do with her. Well, you go. If you need anything, go to the treasure house and choose something. If there is really the godly cunning immortal, you must not be negligent. Also, if there is really a Buddhism expert, it must be investigated. The white-haired old man said. Yes, Dean. After speaking, Mu Bing turned into a fragrant breeze and left quickly. Dean! Ho Xing shouted. Shut up, don't think that this old man doesn't know what you are thinking. Useless things, immediately go with this old man for seclusion. For a year, you are forbidden to leave, the white-haired old man shouted. Dean, disciple, when he saw the fierce light in the eyes of the white-haired old man, he immediately shut his mouth. Yes, Dean. After he finished saying that, Ho Xing backed down. Old man, Mu Bing. One day, I, Ho Xing, will tear you to pieces. There is also Luo Luyen, the bitch. You wait. Ho Xing secretly thought, his fist rattling. Then, he turned into a flash and flew back to his peak. Just after he landed, a shadow was flying fast. After landing, it turned into a man. Looking at his elegance and grace would make one feel inferior. Brother Hua, why is your face so ugly? The man said. Ho Xing turned around and looked angry. Chai Yuanchu, stop your peculiarity. You still didn't pursue your Mu Bing. This matter you need not worry, Brother Ho. Today, your prestige in the dean's eyes is plummeting. Can't this be thanks to Mu Bing? Chai Yuanchu said. Damn Mu Bing, don't let me seize the opportunity. Ho Xing clenched his fist and looked resentful. Brother Ho, anyway, I have a plan to get rid of Mu Bing and control Luo Luyen in your hand. Moreover, this matter is top secret and unnoticed. Are you willing to listen? Chai Yuanchu said. Is that true? With this skill, you could have already used it. Why do you still need me to help you? Ho Xing asked in doubt. Oh, don't want to listen to it. It's hard to be a good person. I see. I'd better watch the fire from the other side. After saying that, Chai Yuanchu turned around and turned into a shadow, then flew into the sky without any care. Seeing this scene, Ho Xing frowned and thought. Finally, he shouted, wait a minute. Oh, do you have something else to do? Chai Yuanchu stopped and asked. Stop pretending and say it quickly. Ho Xing said. This matter is not convenient to say here. Come with me. The two people came to the Chamber of Secrets and laid several layers of isolation arrays. Next, Chai Yuanchu spoke. At first, Ho Xing resisted. When Chai Yuanchu told the plan entirely, Ho Xing's face became brighter and brighter. What you say is very dangerous. Ho Xing shook his head. Look at this. At this moment, Chai Yuanchu took out a space ring and handed it to Ho Xing. Ho Xing was surprised when he opened it. His face filled with disbelief. Too good, with these things, I can leave a fake doppelganger. These two bitches, I will torture them until they wish for death. Ho Xing's body trembled with excitement, and it took him a long time to calm down. Say, what's your intention? Ho Xing said. I just want you to put, Chai Yuanchu whispered to Ho Xing's ears. After Ho Xing heard it, he nodded repeatedly. No problem. Chapter 52. Breaking through the ancient restriction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rumeng, there is a pavilion on the top of the stone pagoda, take me up to see it. Sun Hao said. This. There was a trace of fear on Huang Rumeng's face. She clearly remembers that the top floor of this stone pagoda is within 100 meters, and she could not get close to it at all. Presumably, there was a horrifying restriction on top of it. These restrictions were very ancient, and she was afraid that even a demigod would be destroyed, and fear was not a matter of question. The young master wanted to go up, maybe. What's wrong, Ruming? Xuanhuan asked. I'm okay. I'll take you up. Xuanhuan replied. Thinking of Xuanhuan catching the peerless ferocious flood dragon with one hand, Xuanhuan was relieved. Xuanhuan took out a long sword and floated in front of him. Young master, I stand in front. Xuanhuan said. No, you just stand behind. After speaking, Xuanhuan leaped slightly and stood on the sword's tip, and his whole person was as stable as Mount Tai. Whoosh, the two rushed up to the top of the stone pagoda. Xuanhuan controlled the flying sword and stood 100 meters away, not daring to approach it. Xuanhuan's face changed slightly when she saw there was like no restriction whatsoever blocking in front. Ruming, come closer. Xuanhuan looked at the pavilion on the stone pagoda with his eyes shining. This space was similar to the pavilion, but it was much larger than the pavilion. Wouldn't it be nice to set up tables and chairs, play guqin, paint, chat over tea, and enjoy the beautiful scenery? Thinking so, Xuanhuan stretched out his right hand. Young master, be careful, the words did not finish. Gotcha. The restriction collapsed, cracking like shredded paper. This. Xuanhuan was dumbfounded. She looked at Xuanhuan, and her eyes shone with inextinguishable radiance. The young master broke this ancient restriction with his body alone. This is really terrifying. By looking at his appearance, it seems that there was no restriction at all. Young master is amazing. This method and strength were unimaginable. The more she looked at it, the more Xuanhuan couldn't see through Xuanhuan. Great power. A peerless master. A supreme immortal. It's all possible. Ruming, take me in. Xuanhuan said. Yes, young master. Xuanhuan took a few deep breaths, which made her feel much better. The scenery is really great. Xuanhuan looked ahead and smiled on the top of the stone pagoda. Yes, it is. Xuanhuan stood beside Xuanhuan, nodding slightly. I want to paint now, Ruming. Please help me get the tools. Xuanhuan said. All right. Xuanhuan nodded. A moment later, Xuanhuan unrolled the rice paper and swiped a brush. The brush was moving like a dragon and snake, an inky mountain and river appeared vividly on the paper. On the drawing paper, a man and a woman stood on the top of the mountain, looking out over the mountains. Under the layers of clouds and mist, there is a continuous mountain range. This situation was highly compatible with the present artistic conception. Although the figure was vague, the artistic conception was profound, making people reluctant to look away. Xuanhuan picked up the brush and waved again. In the blank space, he wrote 2 lines. As I struggle to reach the top and see all the small hills in one glance, the ascending painting was thus completed. Xuanhuan looked at this painting and stood there dumbfounded. The scenery in front of her changed completely. As if she had stood in the painting, the woman in the painting became her. Swirl, the wind and cloud in the picture were surging rapidly. The spiritual energy around, no, it was not right, the immortal energy surged. Xuanhuan clearly felt that her strength was rapidly improving. A moment later. Gotcha. Inside his body, the thin layer that blocked her cultivation base cracked. At this moment, she reached the first step of the ascendant realm. There were 2 barriers between the ascendant realm and the immortal realm. The first was the transformation of spiritual power. This process was extremely slow. Ordinary cultivators usually need thousands of years. Even if it were an evil path cultivator, it would take at least 100 years. The spiritual transformation process was divided into 10 steps. For every 10% conversion, the strength would be multiplied several times, so it was divided into 10 steps. Unexpectedly, in just over 10 days, Xuanhuan had been promoted from the crossing calamity realm to the first stage of ascendant realm. If this news went out, perhaps that the old monster who had been sleeping for countless years would jump out. Everything was thanks to Sun Hao. Huang Rumeng looked at Sun Hao with worship, gratitude, and love written on her face. Young master. Huang Rumeng rushed over and hugged Sun Hao tightly. Rumeng. A fragrant wind went straight into his nasal cavity, and a softness came from the chest. Some places were uncontrollable, like a dragon soaring into the sky, unstoppable. Huang Rumeng felt that Sun Hao's body was abnormal, and her face turned red. She hugged tightly, not daring to move. Sun Hao didn't even dare to move. Huang Rumeng is a cultivator. I'm a mortal, and if I dual cultivate with her, first it is not right, and the force is too strong. Gotcha. It was broken. Thinking about it made him scared. He still had to wait until he could cultivate and achieve the same strength. Young master, are you at home? At this moment, a voice came from outside the courtyard. Huang Rumeng quickly let go of Sun Hao, her face flushed, and stood aside. It's them. In Sun Hao's eyes, a strange glow was blooming, and he could reap the blessing point. After returning from Xiangyang City, it has been almost 2 days without reaping the blessing points. As for Huang Rumeng, as early as a few days ago, he could not obtain the blessing point. He didn't know if it was because it was too often or there was an upper limit. Today, when they came, Sun Hao thought that he could harvest a wave of blessing points. Rumeng, take me down. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. After the two landed, they opened the courtyard door. I have seen the young master. Seeing Sun Hao, Chen Daoming, Luo Luyan, and Su Yiling saluted respectfully. Sun Hao clasped his fists. Brother Chen, did you come together? Yes, young master. Chen Daoming stood up. In his eyes, there was a look of admiration. He took out a jade bottle and handed it to Sun Hao. Young master, please accept it. Bringing gifts again. Really unusual. The cultivator is polite. Brother Chen is very kind. Sun Hao took the jade bottle and opened it, and a scent of fragrance came. What's inside was a pill with purple light flowing. At first glance, it was not something that can be used right away, and I will definitely use it in the future. Thank you, Brother Chen, please come inside. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Chen Daoming nodded and strode in. The two women looked sad when they saw this scene. This time, they didn't bring Sun Hao gifts, so they were really embarrassed to go in. Miss Luyan, Miss Yiling, stop staring and come in quickly. Sun Hao said. The two women looked confused, wanting to enter but not daring to enter. Sister Lu Yan, Sister Yiling, don't dawdle. Huang Rumeng walked to the two women, dragged them, and entered the courtyard gate. 1,000-color god lotus. Chen Daoming's expression changed significantly when he saw the lotus flower in the pond. It had only been a short month. Unexpectedly, the demon lotus grew thousands of petals. With so many petals, this strength is unimaginable. Chen Daoming looked at the 1,000-color god lotus with awe in his eyes. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before it became a lotus of all colors. When the time came, how terrifying was the strength of this lotus demon. Thinking about it made people scared for a while. https://100tangpoems.wordpress.com/tag/wang.u/ like what you read. Join our Patreon for more chapters. Chapter 53. Immortal T's Body Strengthening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother Chen, 2 misses, since we all know each other, today, no matter what, we have to finish our meal before leaving. You will have good food today. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Su Yiling took the lead to speak before anyone else could answer. Since the last time I ate the white porridge and radish, I have eaten the marrow and know the taste, which was unforgettable. I won't be able to freeload a meal from the young master in the next lifetime. Luo Luyan only opened her mouth but was unable to say anything. Young master, then I'm going to cook. Huang Rumeng said. Okay. Sun Hao nodded. I'll help. Luo Luyan and Su Yiling followed Huang Rumeng and left quickly. At the scene, only Sun Hao and Chen Daoming were left. Chen Daoming lowered his head and looked nervous. Brother Chen, come, let's have tea. Yes, young master. Chen Daoming nodded, his face full of expectation. The two were seated, and then Sun Hao said, Brother Chen, we drank Biluakun in Dahongpo last time. This time, we will drink Tiguanyin for a change. Tiguanyin. Chen Daoming's eyes revealed a trace of doubt. Obviously, he had not heard this name. Sun Hao smiled slightly and began to make tea. Brother Chen, have you been to Jiangyang City recently? Sun Hao asked. As soon as this came out, Chen Daoming's body trembled. Here comes the test. Stay focused for a while. I must remember young master's every word. No, even every expression, every movement, must be written down. If you can't understand it yourself, consult with Senior Lu Yen. Chen Daoming secretly made a decision and looked very dignified. Yes, I have been there. Have you ever seen a puppet? Sun Hao asked. Jiangyang City, a puppet. What is the young master implying? Yes, I have seen it. Chen Dao answered truthfully. Hearing these words, Sun Hao looked at Chen Daoming, and his face showed admiration. Being able to escape from an invulnerable monster proved that this boy had good strength. Human puppet clan is one of the evil races. Then do you know that there are other evil races besides the human puppet clan? Sun Hao asked. Young master, in addition to the human puppet clan, the evil race also includes the corpse puppet clan, the heart devourer clan, and the soul puppet clan. Chen Daoming began to introduce them one by one seriously. Each race was introduced in great detail. Sun Hao secretly frowned when he heard this. 2 days ago, the innkeeper Xiao Er's miserable look was still lingering in his heart. Her head was gnawed through, and the brain was sucked up. It was terrifying. Such a race should not exist in this world. Sun Hao put the dead branches in his hands and threw them away. Thud, the dead branches fell into the jade lake without turning aside and made the water splashed gradually. When Chen Daoming watched this scene, his mind was shocked. Young master ordered me to destroy the evil race. I see. Chen Daoming clenched his fists, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Brother Chen, I'm sorry, I made you laugh. Sun Hao withdrew his emotions and sat down again. No way, no way. Chen Daoming denied. Hugh, the fragrance of tea was overflowing, drifting towards the backyard. Quack, at this moment, a duck cry sounded. Chen Daoming looked up after he heard that. When he looked at the sky, Chen Daoming's pupil contracted, and his face changed significantly. This is the nine heavens god Luan, my god. Is it here to take the young master's tea? I'm finished, in front of this beast. I can't even move a finger. Chen Daoming muttered to himself, and his face went white. He stared blankly at the nine heavens god Luan descending from the sky, unable to do anything. Its vast wings seemed to be able to cover the entire sky. The wind was blowing and howling as a constant pressure was rolling in. Chen Daoming stood on the spot like a statue. It was not that he didn't want to move, but that he couldn't move at all. Why is there a nine heavens god Luan? It's too terrifying. In the next second, he was even more scared to death. He saw that after the nine heavens god Luan landing, it transformed into a rooster size. At this time, the pressure on his body suddenly disappeared. The nine heavens god Luan quickly walked to Sun Hao, rubbing his neck against Sun Hao's trousers. That appearance was like a licking dog trying to please its master. Oh, my god! The nine heavens god Luan wanted to please the young master. Is it not here to take his treasure? Does he raise it? When he thought it like this, then, boom. As thunder blasted in his mind, it shocked him for a long time to be unable to calm down. It was frightening. The pet raised by the young master turned out to be the nine heavens god Xuan. My ancestor. Keeping a beast as a pet. In this world, no one can do it except for the young master. How strong is his strength? I can't imagine it. The young master is already so powerful. What about the master behind him, Master Tongtian? That is simply the supreme existence. This was the end of his thought. Sigh, Chen Daoming took a few breaths, his body trembled. Xiaoying, do you want to drink? Sun Hao said. Huang Ruming gave it this name, so Sun Hao also called it like this. Quack, Yingyu nodded like a chicken pecking rice. No, the guests didn't drink yet. How can you drink it first? After speaking, Sun Hao poured a cup of tea for Chen Daoming and handed it to him. Chen Daoming felt Yingyu's unkind eyes, his expression stilled, and he picked it up humbly to drink. Brother Chen, drink. Sun Hao toasted. This, young master, give it a cup. Chen Daoming said. Don't worry. Sun Hao seemed to have noticed something wrong. He watched Yingyu's body explode like it was about to have a cockfighting, and he couldn't help but frown slightly. This guy. He doesn't want to live anymore. Daring to stare at the cultivator like this, if he went mad and killed you with a single strike, he would not be able to protect him. Chen Daoming was a master who could survive battling the puppet race. I don't understand. Sun Hao looked at Yingyu and said, why are you staring at the guests so much? Be careful that I will make you into a roast chicken if you don't behave. As soon as this came out, Yingyu was scared to death. He was hurrying down at Sun Hao's feet, shivering. When Chen Daoming looked at this scene, there was a storm in his heart, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. In front of the young master, the beast also had to lie on its stomach. What is precisely his identity? It's so terrifying. Brother Chen, drink. Sun Hao raised his cup. Thank you, thank you. Chen Daoming also raised his cup and took a small sip, the fragrance of tea filling the mouth overflowed. After he took a sip of the tea, it turned into a stream of incomparably pure immortal power, rushing to the meridians throughout the body. Through the meridians, Chen Daoming's physical body and meridians were improved. At this moment, Chen Daoming sensed that his physical body was rapidly strengthened. Immortal tea. Chen Daoming's heart was trembling, and his face was shocked. With a small sip, his body became stronger several times. If he drank a whole cup, wouldn't his own flesh be hundreds of times stronger? Chen Daoming looked at Sun Hao, and his eyes were full of gratitude. Don't worry, young master, and I will definitely eradicate the evil race. By drinking a cup of tea, Chen Daoming's body has become 1,000 times stronger. Even if it was a high-grade spiritual weapon, maybe it can't hurt me. Bvec if he faced Xuanhuan now, Chen Daoming was confident and could hit him into dust with a single punch. The young master's great kindness, I won't be able to repay it. Chen Daoming looked at Sun Hao with a grateful expression. Have another drink. Sun Hao did not wait for Chen Daoming's response but continued to pour him a cup. Just now, this guy drank a cup of tea, and I got 100 blessing points. How can I not give him another drink? Wanting to try again after experiencing it once. Asterisk like what you read. Join our Patreon for more chapters. Chapter 54. Young Master Dare to Eat the Dragon Race. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This. Chen Daoming looked at the cup in front of him, and his eyes were full of emotion. Compared with Wudao tea, this kind of immortal tea was not weak at all. Every cup of tea was a supreme fortune. Thank you. Chen Daoming said gratefully. Brother Chen, it's just a cup of tea. It's not worth mentioning. Come on, drink it. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Chen Daoming continued to drink. He didn't dare to drink too much with every sip and savored it carefully. Sun Hao clearly captured Chen Daoming's movements. It seems that Brother Chen likes my tea very much. Sun Hao secretly nodded, quietly stood up, and walked into the room. A moment later, Sun Hao picked up several bags of tea and came out. After Chen Daoming finished drinking, Sun Hao said, Brother Chen, is it good? Good. This is immortal tea. And it is an immortal tea that could refine and temper the flesh. This is not something that money can buy. That's how good it was. Young master, it's delicious. Chen Daoming nodded. Do you like it? Sun Hao said with a smile. I like it. Chen Daoming nodded. Since you like it, Brother Chen takes a little back to drink. After speaking, Sun Hao handed 3 packets of tea to Chen Daoming. Chen Daoming's scalp was numb, and his face was full of anxiety. After he opened it nervously, his whole person was horrified. This is enlightenment tea. There are thousands of pieces in it, my ancestor. This is supreme spirit tea, and this is immortal tea. There are thousands of pieces. A piece of tea was already a peerless treasure. How dare he accept so much? Young master, this, Chen Daoming's heart beats wildly, and he can't calm down after taking a few deep breaths. These teas completely broke his 3 views. It was impossible to imagine. What's the matter? Sun Hao said. Young master, I can't accept it. Chen Daoming said nervously. Regardless of this thing's value, his strength alone was not enough to protect this kind of treasure. To obtain so many peerless treasures at once, he would definitely be turned into ashes if this was spread out. Why? Are you looking down on my things? Sun Hao carried a trace of anger on his face. Hearing these words, Chen Daoming's body trembled. The young master is angry. Could it be that he gave this tea to me with profound meaning? Ah, it must be so. I don't know what the young master means. I have to think about it. In that case, I have to accept this tea. Chen Daoming thought to himself, holding the tea in his hand. Naturally not, but these things are too precious. Chen Daoming said. Brother Chen, don't reject it. Sun Hao suggested. Then, thank you, young master. After Chen Daoming finished speaking, he put the 3 packets of tea into his space ring. Ding, blessing point plus 300. There was a sound. Sun Hao's eyes sparkled after hearing it. Sure enough. I gained so many blessing points after giving a few packs of tea leaves. It feels terrific. Now, the total blessing point has reached 8,400. It will likely exceed 10,000 by today. What will I send to those 2 girls later? They seem to like calligraphy and painting. Then I will give them calligraphy and painting. Thinking like this, Sun Hao secretly made a decision. Soon after, the food was ready. The 5 people were seated. There were 6 side dishes on the table: stir-fried fried lettuce, vinegared potato shreds, mapo tofu. There's no meat dish. However, seeing Chen Daoming in the 2 girls' eyes, their eyes are full of strange lights. When they smelled the fragrance alone, their stomachs screamed unconsciously. They didn't need to taste these meals to know that they were all supreme elixirs. Naturally, a supreme elixir was hard to find. When the elixir is mature, it will generally make an appearance, attracting countless cultivators to fight for it. The mighty ones might win the elixir. The weaks were either dead or envious by the side. For a long time, they could only stand by the side with envy. Here, in the young master's residence, these things were like home-cooked dishes, not worth mentioning. Who could compare with the young master in this world now? Rumming, the remaining eel should be stewed already. Can you help me bring it over? Yes, young master. Huang Rumming quickly retreated. Miss Lu Yen, Miss Yi Ling, Brother Chen, this time, I caught a big eel, there is half left over, just enough for us to eat. Sun Hao said. Eel. The young master actually likes to eat this kind of ordinary food. With these elixirs to eat, what kind of ordinary food can still be eaten there? However, in front of the young master, they must at least eat 2 bites. Thank you, young master. A moment later, Huang Ruming carried a large casserole and put it on the table. When she opened the lid, the boiling hot soup was full of steam. A kind of unique fragrance rushed to the nose. All of them were waiting for the steam to dissipate. Boom! It was like 9 divine thunders blasted into several people's heads. Luo Luyen looked at the head inside the big casserole, all dumbfounded. Is this eel? This is obviously a flood dragon. Throughout the western regions, where there are dragons, there is only the ghost dragon lake. That peerless ferocious flood dragon swallowed an 8th class sect every month, and the whole sect went up and down without leaving a survivor. Even so, the peerless fierce flood dragon was alive and well. Even the Supreme Court didn't dare to wipe it out because this fierce flood dragon was a branch member of the ancient dragon race. Even if the human race was rampant and domineering, the strong human race could only swallow their anger. Is it possible that the dragon in the pot was that peerless fierce flood dragon? The young master even dared to eat a dragon. Thinking of this, the 3 of them trembled, and the air was cold. In today's world, who else had such courage as the young master? Young master, did you catch this eel by the ghost dragon lake? Luo Luyen asked. Ha, Miss Luyen, how do you know? Sun Hao showed a hint of surprise on his face. Hiss, Luo Luyen and the other 2 took a deep breath. Sure enough. The young master caught the peerless ferocious flood dragon. You guys, don't be embarrassed, eat more. Sun Hao's voice awakened the 3 of them. Seeing Sun Hao moving his chopsticks, the others followed in turn. Luo Luyen took a piece of fierce dragon meat, and her chopsticks trembled slightly. Such a peerless ferocious flood dragon turned into a piece of meat on her chopsticks. This feeling, like a dream, was very surreal as she put it into her mouth. Fragrant. The extremely mellow aroma fills her entire mouth cavity. In a moment, the taste buds on her tongue all come alive. The dragon's meat melts in her mouth, and both immortal power and spiritual power rush all over her body. Luo Luyen could clearly sense that her strength was rapidly increasing. A moment later. Kacha, the realm layer burst instantly. At this moment, she reached the Mahayana realm. With just a mouthful of the flood dragon meat, her strength had grown so much. If I eat 2 more of this, is it useful? Luo Luyen was not polite. She ate in silence. None of the 5 spoke and ate for themselves. Sun Hao was unwilling to break the atmosphere of the meal at the moment. There was a seemingly carefree smile on his face. Even if it was a cultivator, so what? Not eating the food of common mortals. That's because it didn't taste delicious. In front of my cooking, don't you have to eat it obediently? Ding, blessing point +5 ding, blessing point +5. This kind of reminder prompt sounded from time to time. After Sun Hao heard it, he was extremely relieved. Soon after, perfect stage of Mahayana realm. Luo Luyen's face showed a trace of regret. If time could return to the day that she was offered to have dinner with the young master, she thought. If I had finished eating that day, I might have reached the crossing calamity realm by now. Reaching this realm, in the entire western regions, it could be regarded as the strongest in the ranking. What a pity, Luo Luyen looked at the entire table of dishes. Only a little soup remained, and she could not help but sigh secretly. Quack, at this moment, a quack sounded. A golden pheasant croaked around Sun Hao. Luo Luyen looked up, her pupils shrank. Such a beautiful golden pheasant. Wrong. This is the nine heavens god Luan. God. The nine heavens god Luan is the young master's pet. This. How is this possible? Has this kind of beast ever been raised by anyone? Has a beast like this ever pleased the owner like a dog? What the hell happened here? At this moment, Luo Liuyan's three views were utterly broken. Chapter 55. Continuous surprise breakthroughs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In Luo Liuyan's dumbfounded gaze, Sun Hao picked up the leftover soups nonchalantly, filled it into a bowl, and sent it to Ingyu. Quack, Ingyu snorted happily. Luo Liuyang's eyes could not be calm for a long time watching the whole scene. The dignified god beast unexpectedly has become this mixed up. No. It should be said that this is the good fortune of the nine heavens god Luan. It seems that the young master realm is far from what I can imagine. Hiss, Luo Liuyan took a few breaths. It's delicious. This is the best thing I have ever had. Su Yiling touched her round belly, looking content. This meal not only satisfied her appetite but also made her strength soared. Now, she had reached the middle stage of void transformation. Moreover, there was still a lot of energy stored in her belly, which could not be digested directly. When it was all digested completely, she could even reach Mahayana realm. A 20-year-old Mahayana realm, just ask, in the whole world, except for me, Su Yiling, who else could do it? However, all these things happened because of the young master. Thinking of this, Su Yiling looked at Sun Hao with gratitude. Since you like to eat, come often in the future. Sun Hao said. Young master, really? Su Yiling's eyes flashed with a peculiar light. A little home cooking, as long as Miss Yiling likes it, come here often. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Su Yiling looked moved. Qin Daoming was also stunned at the moment. He broke through from the nascent soul realm to the void transformation realm at once. Even across two great realms. This soaring feeling was extremely comfortable. All of this was because of the young master. Qin Daoming murmured, clenching his fists. Young master. Luo Liuyan hesitated to speak but stopped. Miss Liuyan, just say it. Sun Hao said. The painting you gave Yiling last time was damaged by me. After speaking, Luo Liuyan took out a painting scroll and presented it to Sun Hao. Hearing this, Sun Hao's eyes flashed with brilliance. It was a coincidence that he could directly give them paintings right away. Sun Hao picked it up and opened it. He couldn't help frowning slightly. The ink on the painting scroll all disappeared. This pair of lovesickness was painted before he reached the supreme realm of art. The use of paper and ink was very ordinary. Now, what he used was completely higher. Presumably, it won't fade after giving it to them. Miss Liuyan, don't take it to heart. Since you too like it, I will send you 2 more. After speaking, Sun Hao quickly ran back to the house, took out 2 sets of paintings, 1 for each, and handed them to Luo Liuyan and Su Yiling. Young master, how can this be? The 2 women's expressions changed slightly, and they waved their hands again and again. They didn't bring any gifts this time, but they were still freeloading a meal. It was so embarrassing. How could they have any face to accept such a peerless treasure? Why? Are you looking down on it? Sun Hao lowered his face, looking a little angry. Seeing this scene, the 2 women trembled. We do not look down on it. But we do not dare to ask for it. The young master seemed to be very angry. It won't work if you didn't answer. The 2 women looked at each other and took the painting. Thank you, young master. The 2 women clasped their fists. You're welcome. Sun Hao's face showed a touch of joy. These cultivators were really strange. He sent them gifts kindly, but they declined this and refused that. When he slightly pulled his face down, then they took it. Could it be that? Are they afraid of me? No way. Sun Hao shook his head slightly. How could they be afraid of a mortal like him? If they were not scared of him, then they were worried about the indispensable master behind him. This feeling was quite good. It seemed that Chen Daoming told the two girls of the master behind him. It was not right to spread like this. It would come to light one day. Have to think of a way to stop them from continuing to spread it. Brother Chen, do you know Miss Luyan? Sun Hao asked. Yes, young master, we are fellow Taoists. Chen Daoming said. I see. It seems that their relationship is not ordinary. Very good, between friends, you should help each other. Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Chen Daoming's body trembled. Could it be? Chen Daoming's eyes glowed. By the way, Brother Chen, my respected master, travels all over the world and will not come back for a while. This matter must not be told to others, understand? Sun Hao solemnly said. As soon as this came out, Chen Daoming and the two women's expressions changed slightly. The three of them thought about it, with a puzzled look on their faces. Don't worry, young master, no one else knows about this except us. Chen Daoming said. Young master, since you told me this, we will never say it. Luo Luyan and Su Yiling also stood up, guarantee written across their whole faces. Hearing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed. With their guarantee, at least the transmission speed would be much slower. When they reacted, he should already be able to cultivate. If that's the case, thank you. Sun Hao said. You're welcome, young master, it's getting late. I'll leave today. Luo Luyan stood up first, cupping her fists to salute. Have a cup of tea before you go. Sun Hao said. When Su Yiling heard it, her eyes shone. When she was about to answer, Luo Luyan was stunned and stopped talking. Thank you, young master. I won't bother you today. I'll visit you another day. Luo Luyan said. That's okay, three of you, be careful on the road. He sent Chen Daoming and the others away. Sun Hao's eyes were sparkling with lights. Today, it could be said to be a big profit. He obtained more than 4,000 blessing points, and the total blessing points had exceeded 10,000. It was so simple to reap the blessing points. The more he was willing to give, the more blessing point he would obtain. Next time when they come, he would try to send them more gifts. If this continues, I believe that I will be able to start cultivating in the near future. Young master, what are you so happy about? Huang Ruming asked. Hearing this, Sun Hao was slightly startled. Afterward, he showed a deep and unpredictable smile. Ruming, I will be able to cultivate soon. By then, I will protect you. Huang Ruming's expression was startled, and her face was full of joy. In that case, the young master's experience as a mortal was almost over. Young master said he would protect me. He wouldn't forget me by the end of his worldly experience as a mortal. When she thought of this, Huang Ruming blushed, and a happy smile spread on her face. Thank you, young master. Huang Ruming said. Ruming, you are not allowed to be polite to me. Sun Hao pretended to be angry. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming nodded slightly and quickly picked up the dishes and chopsticks on the table. Young master, I will wash the dishes first, and you will teach me to play guqin later. Ruming, let me wash it today. I always let you wash it, how shameful. Sun Hao said. Young master, don't take away this little thing from Ruming. Otherwise, Ruming feels that she is useless. Huang Ruming said. That's all right then, let's play guqin after washing the dishes. Okay. Looking at Huang Ruming's back, Sun Hao felt this was like a dream, incredibly unreal. Ruming is so strong. If I am also able to cultivate, that would be great. Ruming, you wait. I will try to catch up with you. Chapter 56. The young master's test is too difficult. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Luo Luyen walked on the road with a solemn expression. Fellow Daoist Chen, I just thought about it all the way, but I didn't understand what the young master meant. Did he point at you? Luo Luyen asked. Chen Daoming looked nervous, looked around, and lowered his voice. Fellow Daoist Luo, this is not a place to talk. Can we find a safe place? Okay. Luo Luyen nodded. Fellow Daoist Chen, then follow me to the Jade Lake Palace to talk about it. All right. The two of them got up, turned into a long rainbow, and flew away quickly. Master, wait for me. Su Yiling followed closely. A day later, the three of them came to a secret room in Jade Lake Palace. After sitting down, Chen Daoming said, the young master said that evil races should not exist in the world. What he meant is to ask me to eradicate the evil races. Yes, that's what he means, but it's impossible for you alone to eradicate the evil races. Luo Luyen shook her head slightly, indicating that she could not understand. Fellow Daoist Luo, this is the 3 bags of tea that he gave me. If I don't accept it, he would still be angry. I think this must be related to the young master's test. After speaking, Chen Daoming took out 3 bags of tea. As soon as this bags came out, Luo Luyen and Su Yiling were astonished and didn't come back to their senses for a long time. Luo Luyen hurriedly set up a series of formations, covering the surroundings. These things, if they flow out, they will only lead to massacre. The young master gave you such a valuable thing. I'm afraid this matter has profound meaning. Luo Luyen said. I think so too. Chen Daoming said and began to think. Su Yiling stood aside, scratching her head from time to time, and her face was confused. Isn't this tea for you to drink? What is so simple? Don't talk nonsense. Luo Luyen reprimanded her lightly. Oh. Su Yiling stuck out her tongue and sat weakly on the side. Suddenly. I see. Chen Daoming slapped his thigh with a look of joy. Fellow Daoist Chen, please explain. Luo Luyen looked expectant. Fellow Daoist Luo, the young master first points out that the evil race should not exist in the world. This is to tell me to eradicate them. Then, he gave me 3 bags of tea, which refers to the 3 of us, which means that the 3 of us are the center to eradicate the evil race on behalf of the young master. He also said that among fellow Taoists, we should help each other, presumably let us recruit talents and fight the evil race together. These 3 bags of tea may be a reward from him. Chen Daoming said. Hearing this, Luo Luyen nodded secretly, revealing an enlightened look. You are right. However, how do we recruit more cultivators? If they are too strong, I am afraid that they will be disloyal, but if they are too weak, they will not be the evil's opponent. Then again, where is the evil race's lair? Next, where will they attack? What are the young master's instructions? Luo Luyen said. This remark made Chen Daoming speechless. Fellow Daoist Luo, what do you think? Chen Daoming asked. You first tell me every word and every action that the young master said. Luo Luyen said. All right. Next, Chen Daoming told the story of the situation when he saw Sun Hao yesterday. When Chen Daoming said that Sun Hao had unexpectedly thrown a dead branch, Luo Luyen's eyes flashed completely. Dead branches. Pool. No, that's Jade Lake Palace. Maybe, that represents Jade Lake Palace. The young master pointed out that the evil race will take action against the Jade Lake Palace. My God. At this moment, Luo Luyen felt cold all over. After Luo Luyen told her analysis, Chen Daoming was shocked, and his body trembled. Senior Luo, your understanding is excellent. With the temperament of the evil race, it is only natural they are after you and attack the Jade Lake Palace since you kill so many of their puppets. Chen Daoming said. Thank you for your advice. Otherwise, we don't know how we died. Luo Luyen showed a look of fear. The evil race will come this time, they will definitely strike the mountain and shake the tiger. 1. It must be a strong one. It is definitely not easy. I don't know if the young master has any other instructions. Luo Luyen said. Fellow Taoist Luo, those 2 paintings. Chen Daoming said. Right. Luo Luyen took out one of the scrolls and slowly spread it out. This was a green pine painting. Thousands of miles of frozen snow and thousands of miles were snow drifting. A green pine stands proudly, fighting against the wind and snow. Above, there is a sentence. Heavy snow oppresses the green pine, and the green pine is straight and straight. https://line.17qq.com/article/qkqmfwmqy_p4.html. That kind of unyielding will and Taoist rhyme continuously rose and rushed out. After the 3 saw it, their expressions changed drastically. Such a terrifying Taoist rhyme, at least 10,000 times stronger than that Lingxi painting. The young master is really terrifying. Luo Luyen muttered, her face was full of shock. She put aside the rhyme and just looked at the painting. Chen Daoming and Luo Luyen stated for a long time, but they couldn't think of anything. Get the other one. Okay. Next, another picture scroll was spread out again. This was the picture of the ascending painting. As I struggle to reach the top, and see all the small hills in one glance. That kind of domineering, that kind of supreme feeling, flooded all over the body. On the scroll, the clouds were surging up, seeming to be flowing out. A man and a woman looking at the scenery. What does this mean? The 2 were very close, which seemed to represent the need to unite. Is it that simple? Luo Luyen frowned. Even if she cracked her head, she couldn't understand what this meant. Fellow Taoist Chen, do you realize anything? Luo Luyen asked. No. Chen Daoming sighed heavily, looking helpless. The young master's test is too difficult. Yes. The 2 continued to stare at the scroll, frowning and thinking. Su Yiling supported her head with her hands and sighed, Master, when will you finish? It's so boring. However, the 2 did not respond to her. Su Yiling was like a transparent person. Master is so clever that I can't figure it out. What exactly is this painting? Su Yiling stepped forward, and when she saw ascending painting, she couldn't help but exclaimed, what a beautiful cloud, what a beautiful blue sky. Hearing this, Luo Luyen's body jolted. It seemed that she had caught something, but she didn't quite understand it. Sky. Isn't this heaven, too? The young master deliberately painted the blue sky so vast. Isn't this the Supreme Court, too? I was so stupid that I couldn't understand it. It was actually so straightforward. I see, this refers to the Supreme Court. Luo Luyen said. When Chen Daoming heard it, he showed a sudden epiphany. Fellow Taoist Luo, your understanding is beyond this realm. Chen Daoming's face was full of admiration. No. Luo Luyen took a long sigh of relief, but her face was still showing her doubts. Although young master points out the Supreme Court, what does this mean? Did the young master point it out that the Supreme Court has the evil race inside? Or let's unite with the Supreme Court to fight the evil race together? What does this painting, green pine, mean? Luo Luyen said. Chen Daoming listened to these and shook his head for a while. The young master's instruction is too profound. Yes. Luo Luyen sighed secretly, she looked depressed. At this time, Palace Master, the people from the Supreme Court are here. A disciple's voice sounded outside the door. Deliberately showing off strength as a warning, Xianxia literally means heaven courtyard. * Join our Patreon and read up to it. Turn out I am a Dao Ancestor up to chapter 90. Chapter 57. It turns out to be this. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Over the Jade Lake Palace, a flying boat was floating in the sky. A blue-clothed woman held a letter of jade slip in her hand on the flying boat and carefully checked it. The jade slip said, "The rumors of Xianxia City are true, there is a sea of blood, and the Buddha killed the evil spirits. It seems that Elysium of bliss is born." Seeing this news, the blue-dressed woman nodded slightly. Is Elysium really born? Then it will be easy to understand. The blue-dressed woman was none other than Mu Bing, a disciple of the Supreme Court. There was neither sadness nor joy on her face, as if nothing in the whole world could make any waves in her. In this way, that godly cunning immortal is indeed a fiction. Lu Yen, I don't know what realm the expert you mentioned has reached. Can he catch my palm strike? However, you surprised me a little bit. You actually reached the void transformation realm. Mu Bing muttered to herself, slowly floating down from the sky, follow me down. Yes. Hundreds of men and women dressed in blue and armed with swords followed Mu Bing and flew down. The whole scene was like an immortal descending to the earth, handsome to the sky. A moment later, they landed in the Jade Lake Palace Square. Fellow Taoist Mu, coming here really makes Jade Lake Palace shine. At this time, Luo Luyen brought all the disciples forward, holding her fists and saluting. The moment she saw Luo Luyen, Mu Bing's pupils contracted slightly. How come you have reached the perfection Mahayana realm? Mu Bing murmured, her mind turned sharply. She remembered that when Luo Luyen left the Supreme Court, she was in the nascent soul realm. At that time, she herself had reached the void transformation perfection realm. After so many years, she only reached the early stage of crossing calamity, although she had been suppressing it in recent years. But on the whole, her progress was relatively slow. And now Luo Luyen had reached Mahayana perfection, only one step away from catching up with herself. Although she was good friends with Luo Luyen, she was a Supreme Court genius, and Luo Luyen was just a waste disciple. Mu Bing said lightly, "Why? Are we not welcomed?" "Ha!" Luo Luyen laughed heartily, "Fellow Taoist Mu, you are still out of touch. What you practice is sword art, not ruthless Tao. What does that matter?" Mu Bing nodded. "Fellow Taoist Mu, please come inside. Let's have tea and chat." Luo Luyen said. "You don't have to serve me tea. I am looking for you this time because I have something to ask you." Mu Bing said. Luo Luyen secretly shook her head, and she was ready to borrow a piece of enlightenment tea from Qin Dao Ming. Since Mu Bing did not want to drink, she could save the favor for herself. "Let's talk inside." A few people entered the hall, and after sitting down, Mu Bing spoke first. "Fellow Taoist Luo, have you ever heard about the invasion of evil spirits in Xianxia City?" "Naturally, I was at the scene." Luo Luyen replied. "In that way, you are the one who saved the entire Xiangyang city?" Mu Bing asked. "No," Luo Luyen shook his head for a while, "it has nothing to do with me." "What's the explanation for this?" Mu Bing asked. "All of this was because an expert gave instructions to destroy the evil spirits, and it is also the high-ranking expert. And I, at best, am just a hitman." Luo Luyen explained. "So, is there really the godly cunning immortal?" Mu Bing asked. "The godly cunning immortal?" Luo Luyen looked puzzled. "Oh, this is the name the cultivator of the world gave to the expert behind you." Mu Bing said. "I understand." Luo Luyen nodded. "Fellow Taoist Luo, can you take me to meet that expert?" Mu Bing said. "This." Luo Luyen showed embarrassment, and then she shook her head secretly. "Fellow Taoist Mu, I'm really sorry, that expert likes to be quiet and doesn't like to be disturbed. I'm afraid it's wrong to take you there rashly." "Like to be quiet? That's a good excuse. It seems that there is no expert at all." He who extinguishes the evil spirits is a master of Elysium. Take this credit to the master behind her. Ha! Mu Bing laughed secretly, but there was no change on her face as she was about to get up and leave at this time. Fellow Taoist Luo, I understand. Qin Daoming rushed into the hall and shouted. When he saw Mu Bing, he held his fist and saluted, I have seen fellow Taoist Mu. Seeing Qin Daoming, Mu Bing's expression changed slightly, there is a male practitioner in this Jade Lake Palace. Has she changed the ruthless Dao? Mu Bing nodded slightly, her expression unchanged. Really? Luo Luyen quickly stood up and ran to Qin Daoming. Come with me. The two promptly walked out of the hall and came to a secret room. Fellow Taoist Luo, isn't this green pine painting referring to Mu Bing? Qin Daoming said. Mu Bing. This has something to do with Mu Bing. Luo Luyen secretly frowned, then showed a face of surprise, this pine refers to the wood, the same wood in Mu, 1. And the freezing thousands of miles, implying ice, as it turns out, it relates to Mu Bing. It turns out that the young master has already hinted everything, even about Mu Bing's arrival, by giving us these two paintings. Unexpectedly, we were too stupid to understand until now. Luo Luyen took a few breaths and showed a happy face. Fellow Taoist Chen, thank you. You are too polite, I realized it only after seeing Mu Bing's arrival, and I am ashamed. Qin Daoming said. In this way, the young master wants us to unite with Mu Bing to fight the evil race together. Luo Luyen said. It looks like this is the case. Then I will take her to see the young master, and may I ask fellow Taoist Chen to help Yiling and lay a protection array around Jade Lake Palace together to prevent the evil race from taking advantage of it. Luo Luyen said. Master, I also want to go with you. Su Yiling said. What are you going to do? Luo Luyen reprimanded her. I'm going to, she wanted to talk about going to eat, but Su Yiling couldn't say so. Besides, now her stomach was quite bloated and not fully absorbed. You want to go to eat again, don't you? You don't have any gift for the young master, aren't you embarrassed to go? Luo Luyen said. Su Yiling was dumbfounded and helpless. Stay well in the Jade Lake Palace to practice and fight against the evil race. It's up to you. Keep the young master's painting with you. If you encounter danger, it will save your life. After speaking, Luo Luyen ran out. She hurried back to the hall only to see that Mu Bing had disappeared. Without further ado, she ran out quickly. Fellow Taoist Mu, wait. Seeing Mu Bing had already flown up, Luo Luyen hurriedly spoke. What's the matter? Mu Bing said. Fellow Taoist Mu, there is indeed something. This is not a place to talk, let's talk inside. Luo Luyen said. All right. Led by Luo Luyen, the two of them went into a secret room. Fellow Taoist Mu, I didn't understand the young master's meaning before, but now, I understand. Luo Luyen said. When Mu Bing heard this, she was puzzled, what young master? What do you understand? I'm sorry. I was too hasty. The young master is the expert behind I've told you before. He is an unimaginable existence. Right now, he is cultivating by experiencing the world as a mortal. He instructed us to destroy the whole evil race. He calculated that the evil race would soon attack Jade Lake Palace. Let you and me unite and fight against the evil race together. I'm practically going blind here. If anyone knows, you can tell in a comment, * join our Patreon and read up to it. Turn out I am a Dao Ancestor up to chapter 91. Chapter 58. To see what tricks you're playing, you are listening at novelfull.audio. An unimaginable existence. Predicted everything. Experienced the world as a mortal. Mu Bing sneered inwardly when she heard this. What a wonderful imagination. Worshipped a mortal as a god, and take the merits of the masters of Elysium on yourself. Is this still the Luo Luyan I know? Although she thought so in her heart, her face remained unchanged. Fellow Taoist Mu, since the young master made you and me unite, then let's go to see him with me. Maybe he will have new instructions. Luo Luyan said. Go with you to see the mortal. Okay. I'll see what tricks you're playing. If evil spirits really bewitch you, don't blame me for not thinking about sisterhood. Good. Mu Bing said calmly. Then, the two of them walked out of the Jade Lake Palace and flew to the Great Demon Mountain. A day later, the two came to the edge of the Great Demon Mountain. Mu Bing, I know you don't believe it, but let's be like sisters. I have a few words to tell you in advance. Otherwise, if you miss a major opportunity, you will regret it. In front of the young master, there must be no arrogance. Since the young master appointed us to destroy the evil race, this is the supreme good fortune. Luo Luyan didn't mean to stop as soon as she spoke. Mu Bing felt like she might have calluses in her ears, and there was a hint of dryness in her heart. She was not angry because of Luo Luyan's face. I know. Mu Bing said. When we fly down, we have to go up from the foot of the mountain to show our sincerity. All right. The two landed and walked up the mountain, step by step. Going up the steps. By the side of the road, there was a stream. The clear stream crashed against the stone, creating a mist of water. The mist-shrouded peach blossom forest was like a fairyland. When the wind blows, the fragrance of peaches pours into the nose, it felt refreshing. Seeing this scene, Mu Bing's eyes flashed, good place. Then, two people continue to go up. Suddenly. Worry is neither born nor extinguished, neither dirty nor clean, neither increasing nor decreasing. A series of scriptures, mixed with the sound of Buddhism and Taoism, flooded the entire valley like a torrent. At the exact moment, Mu Bing stood silly on the spot. The scenery in front of her was changing rapidly, and a giant golden Buddha stood proudly in the sky. The dazzling golden light made people afraid to look directly at it. Words of scripture flew out of the golden Buddha's mouth and enveloped the whole world. Spectating the breathtaking scene, Mu Bing hadn't recovered for a long time. The words of the Grand Tao filled her mind. At this moment, she reached an indescribable state of harmony between man and nature. That kind of mystery, that kind of meaning, could not be understood and comprehended. For a long time, only then Mu Bing woke up from this state. Although her strength had not risen, her state of mind had rapidly increased. Her future achievements would be limitless. Could it be that it was not the master of Elysium that destroyed the evil spirits? It was the expert on the mountain. In other words, the so-called young master. Thinking like this, Mu Bing's face changed slightly, fear flashed on her face. Just now, she thought about running to the mountain and exposing the expert. If she had done that, what was the difference between this and dying? Thinking about this, Mu Bing put away her arrogance and followed Luo Luyan up. There are still no blessing points. After closing the scriptures, Sun Hao sighed faintly. For 2 days, he didn't get any blessing points. Now, the cultivators didn't come to his residence, and there was no chance to send anything. Is the young master at home? At this moment, there was a sound from outside the courtyard. Hearing this, Sun Hao's eyes brightened. Finally, someone was here. Listening to her voice, it seemed to be Miss Luyan. Young master, I'll open the door. Xuanhuan walked to the courtyard door and opened it, but she couldn't help but look stunned. She saw that beside Luo Luyan, there was a beautiful-looking woman who was far better than Luo Luyan. She is Mu Bing. Mu Bing looked at Xuanhuan with a flash of surprise. Sister Rumeng, this is my fellow Taoist Mu Bing. I'm here this time to pay homage to young master. Luo Luyan introduced. Miss Mu Bing, Sister Luyan, please come inside. Under the lead of Xuanhuan, the two walked into the hospital. Mu Bing's pupils shrank after seeing the 1,000-color god lotus in the pond. It was a demon immortal. I'm afraid it was not an ordinary monster. The horror made Mu Bing have a little difficulty breathing. Just by looking at it, Mu Bing looked back and bowed her head slightly to show respect. Although she heard Luo Luyen talk about it many times, she was still shocked when she saw it at this moment. It had been a long time since there had been a wave of waves in her heart. Now there were layers of ripples. Mu Bing restrained her inner fluctuations and continued to follow Huang Rumeng. Suddenly, quack, a duck's cry came. Duck. Mu Bing said subconsciously, looking up, her pupils shrinking. Buzz, there was a wave of coercion, like a tsunami. Dare to call this old ancestor a duck, and you are the first one, even the master is calling me a chicken. How dare you call me a duck? A sound rang in her mind like thunder. At this moment, Mu Bing felt like sinking into hell, trembled violently all over. On her forehead, sweat rolled out. What kind of duck was this? This was obviously the Nine Heavens God Luan. What's the difference between calling it a duck and dying? Luo Luyen repeatedly told her about the Nine Heavens God Luan, but she still forgot. Senior, I didn't mean it. Mu Bing hurriedly transmitted his voice. Humph, that's unintentional. Even unintentionally, you still dare to do this. If it was intentional. Following the sound, the endless coercion continued. Mu Bing felt extremely uncomfortable, as if she were about to split apart. Maybe in a second, she would be blown to paste. Xiaoying, why? So aggressive, be careful that I will stew you into a pot of chicken soup. Seeing Ying Yu's feather ruffled up and staring at Mu Bing, Sun Hao stopped getting angry. A chicken dared to stare at a cultivator like this. Be careful of being cut off with a sword. Quack. Ying Yu retracted his coercion and encircled Sun Hao as if he was a licking dog. Seeing this scene, the stormy sea rose again in Mu Bing's heart. With a single word, that mortal made the Nine Heavens God Luan retract the pressure, like a licking dog. By the way, the Nine Heavens God Luan called him the master just now. Could it be that mortal? My God! Is this the end of the world? The dignified beast turned out to be a licking dog. L.C. Initially, she was shocked by its strength. But now, Mu Bing's worldview has been completely subverted. Divine beasts recognized a mortal as their masters, but why are they so pleased? How was this possible? Is this mortal a supreme existence? Mu Bing kept using various methods. No matter how she looked, Sun Hao was just a mortal. Even I can't see through all his secrets. Mu Bing's face showed the most careful look ever since. Young master, this is my friend named Mu Bing. She has admired you for a long time. She has come to visit you today. Luo Luyen said. Miss Mu Bing, hello. Sun Hao said. Seeing this handsome scholar, Mu Bing hurriedly leaned forward. I have seen the young master. You're welcome. Miss Mu Bing has come a long way. Sit down and have a rest first. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. And then they walked into the pavilion. Join our Patreon for more chapters. Chapter 59. Supreme Existence, Shocking Good Fortune. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rumeng, help me pick some fruits here. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng left quickly. A moment later, a plate of crystal clear cherries was placed on the table. The skin looks black with a red glow, full of fruity fragrance. Mu Bing secretly shook her head when she saw Luo Luoyan's eager look. No matter how she looked at it, it was all still worldly fruits. It couldn't be more ordinary. This kind of thing, for her, she had long since stopped eating it. Unexpectedly, Luo Luyen would be tempted by this mundane food, which was a failure. Mrs., no need to be formal. Let's eat. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Luo Luyen picked up the cherries and chewed them with a gratified expression on her face. AI, Mu Bing sighed and picked up a cherry. This thing could only be used for worldly food, and she really didn't want to eat it. But if she can't save face, just reluctantly eat a piece of it. Mu Bing put the whole fruit in her mouth and bit it gently. Pooh, the pulp juice was bursting, fragrant and sweet, and filled her whole mouth cavity. It was delicious. Her taste buds were all open at one moment. Every cell was active. After 2 bites, an incomparably pure spiritual force, mixed with wisps of immortal power, flooded into her meridians like a torrent. At this moment, Mu Bing felt that her meridians seemed to be split. She ran the cultivation method quickly and transferred this power to her dantian. The immortal power in her meridians quickly transformed them and her physical body. Within a short breath, her physical body had been enhanced 10 times. How is this possible? What happened to me? Mu Bing murmured, and her heart could not be calm for a long time as if it was hit with flash floods. Gotcha. A sound was heard. The realm membrane on her body cracked. The initially suppressed realm collapsed instantly. At this moment, she reached the middle stage of crossing Calamity Realm. Mu Bing's face changed drastically when she sensed the change in her dantian. She was working hard to suppress it, only to prepare for the tribulation. Although it was just a tricolor tribulation thunder, she definitely couldn't get through it without the best spirit weapon. After so many years of accumulation, 80% of the best spirit weapon materials were ready. In 2 years at the most, all of them could be collected. At that time, she planned to ask the master refiner to build a great spiritual weapon, and only then would she have 50% hope to survive the tribulation thunder. Unexpectedly, when I came here to eat fruit, I burst my own membrane. Now, I am dead. Thinking like this, Mu Bing looked up, and her face couldn't help change dramatically. She saw dark clouds suddenly appear in the sky. In less than a moment, the whole sky was shrouded. Within 100 miles, it was pitch black. ZZ, the tricolor electric glow kept beating and sizzling in the sky. Every time, a current sound made people's scalp feel like poked with pins and needles. Sun Hao frowned slightly and looked back at Huang Rumeng. After seeing her expression was normal, he relaxed. It seems that Rumeng is not afraid of thunder. Sun Hao secretly said. In the dark clouds, a giant whose whole body was made up of electric lights was galloping, and from time to time, he found bursts of laughter. I came out again, haha, wonderful. This time, I want to see which little guy is having a tribulation. Small shrimp, I want to let you know that the power of heaven is irresistible. This time, I must let your soul fly away. Otherwise, this year's performance is not up to standard, and I have no face to go back and see the master. At this point, the thunder giant's eyes swept away, staring directly at Mu Bing. Mu Bing got goosebumps all over her body with this stare as if being stared at by the hell horror beast. Her body trembled violently uncontrollably. In the sky, the tricolor tribulation thunder was brewing. That kind of momentum that destroyed everything made life have no resistance at all. Mu Bing closed her eyes and quietly waited for this moment to come. In the sky, the thunder tribulation giant suddenly felt his scalp explode. God, the Supreme Being is sitting there. I'm here again. Well, it seems that this little guy has something to do with the Supreme Being. In this case, let me give you some luck. After finishing speaking, the thunder tribulation giant showed an extremely painful expression, drew a ray of electric light from his body, and threw it down. The tricolor thunder light disappeared. The dark clouds all around gradually dissipated. In less than a moment, it was sunny. Like everything just now was nothing more than a dream. Nothing. Mu Bing was stunned, with a face full of disbelief. Such a terrifying thunder tribulation was obviously aimed at her. And now, the thunder tribulation had not yet fallen. There must be a reason for this. L.RG was there a master helping her from the dark? Around here, even the 9 heavens god Luan did not have this ability. Besides, she just called it a duck. How could it willingly help her? Having said that, there was no one else except the young master. After thinking about it this way, Mu Bing showed a look of a sudden epiphany. Young master, thank you for your life-saving grace. Mu Bing looked at Sun Hao with gratitude in her eyes. Suddenly, she raised her eyebrows as she looked at her Dantian, her whole being stunned. The thunder light. The light blue thunder light jumped inside her Dantian, blending with her Dantian nascent soul. It was getting stronger rapidly. Supreme good fortune. My God, how could I get this kind of luck? All this, it seems, is the result of the young master's help in secret. Young master, thank you. Miss Mu Bing, don't be embarrassed. Let's eat. Sun Hao's voice awakened Mu Bing. Thank you, young master. Mu Bing nodded, picked up a cherry, and tasted it carefully. She secretly looked at Sun Hao. Lights of gratefulness and admiration swept in waves. He saved her and gave her supreme good luck. This kindness was unforgettable. She felt that she must give him a gift to show her gratitude. Thinking like this, Mu Bing secretly opened her space ring and began to check. Finally, her eyes fixed on a piece of black shining stone. This thing, called Black Vein's immortal gold, was the treasure of the Supreme Court. The entire sect only had a few hundred pieces. Her own piece was for winning the sect competition and getting the top 10 awards. This thing was initially intended to be used to refine the best spirit weapon to block the tribulation thunder. However, now that she had such light of thunder tribulation in her body, she was not afraid of tribulation thunder. Giving this thing to the young master, he should be able to see its value, right? Thinking so, Mu Bing took out the Black Vein's immortal gold and handed it respectfully to Sun Hao. Young master, I come in a hurry. This is a little gift, a little courtesy. Please accept it. Mu Bing said. Black Vein's immortal gold. Luo Luoyan had a strange glow in her eyes. Seeing Luo Luoyan's reaction, Sun Hao was taken aback. This black stone was not ordinary. She gave it to me. How can I not receive it? At the right moment, find this opportunity to give her something. If she dares not accept it, then pretend to be angry and pull down my face. Presumably, she is just like the others and accepts it honestly. This was simply wonderful. Sun Hao thought. Miss Mu Bing, come when you want to come, and also giving me something, that's very kind of you. Sun Hao smiled and took the Black Vein's immortal gold into his hand and began to look it up. A good piece of iron, but it's a bit small. It's not enough to be made into a dagger. Asterisk mystified. I am terribly sorry for reposted the same chapter yesterday, by the time I found out it was already night and I was asleep. The regular release schedule for It Turns Out I Am a Dao Ancestor is 4.6 chapters per week. I Am an Evil Sword will be on hold since we do not have enough chapter to post for about a week. Join our Patreon for more chapters and so that we could hire more translator and editor, practically now only Rylais do the job. Chapter 60. Young Master Accepts Disciple, the test begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A bit small. Is that not enough? The young master is saying. Just this little black-veined immortal gold was not enough to save her life. What to do? Mu Bing's mind turned sharply, thinking about countermeasures. Black-veined immortal gold was an immortal-grade material. It was used to create a top-grade spirit, and it was not easy to get. When given into the hands of the immortal refiner master, this thing was the material that could be used to create an immortal weapon. This kind of treasure was hard to find. Where can I find it myself? What to do? If I don't bring it, the young master will be angry. Later, this path of good fortune will definitely be broken. When the time comes, she could only find a place to cry to death. By the way, the dean seems to have a few pieces of black-veined immortal gold, so I can only ask the dean for one. Thinking of this, Mu Bing secretly took this matter into her heart. Miss Mu Bing, Miss Lu Yen, don't freeze, eat. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. The two women started again. Sun Hao looked at the two women and contemplated. His own place was too remote, and no immortal cultivator was willing to come. If he kept going like this, the speed of collecting blessing points was too slow. I have to think of a way. After some thinking, Sun Hao secretly nodded. In his eyes, a glimmer of light flashed and disappeared. Two misses, please help me if you can. Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, the two women trembled. Here came the test. The young master was going to start to give instructions. Next, every word and every expression must be kept in mind. Young master, please say it. Luo Luyen said. I'm going to accept 3 disciples, but this matters. Sun Hao hesitated to say it. When Luo Luyen heard it, her eyes sparkled. What? Accept disciples. This kind of good thing. Young master, I would like to worship you as a teacher and be by your side for many years. I'm at your disposal. Please accept me. ENV wrong. The young master did not directly ask to accept her, that is, he simply looks down on me. In other words, he still needs to test her. Thinking of this, the two suppressed their inner excitement and calmed down. Young master, do you want us to help you find disciples? Luo Luyen asked. That's right, not right. Sun Hao said ambiguously. Of course, I can't really accept disciples. Otherwise, what to teach them? Gardening. Playing the guqin. Farming. Refining. Carving. It seems that those who cultivate immortality do not like these things, do they? Therefore, as long as the two of them send people here and he gave something to those people, how can he gain blessing points constantly? Young master, we understand. Luo Luyen said. Well, remember, the stronger the strength, the better. Sun Hao said. The stronger the strength, the higher the blessing point would be. Never bring mortals here. Young master, rest assured. Luo Luyen nodded. Miss Mu Bing, it's the first time for you to come today and even gave me something. You're really polite. I have something for you. Please come with me. Sun Hao said. As soon as he said this, Mu Bing's body trembled. What did he want her to do? Obviously, she felt that she had given unworthy gifts, but still wanted to give gifts to her. What does this mean? Thinking about this, Mu Bing looked at Luo Luyen, asking for help. Mu Bing, this is the young master testing you. Be careful, and don't be greedy. Luo Luyen said. N. Mu Bing nodded and followed Sun Hao nervously. Soon, the two came to the carving room. When the gate was open, terrifying coercion came like Mount Tai. Mu Bing's face was pale, and delicate beads of sweat overflowed on her forehead. It was the statues in the room that released this terrifying pressure. Every statue made Mu Bing couldn't produce any resistance in her heart. So many terrifying spirits. Mu Bing stared at the statues all over the room with a shocked expression on her face. Those that could give birth to spirits were all high-grade spirits. This room was all full of high-grade spiritual weapons, even the top-grade ones. So many top-grade artifacts. This is much richer than the Supreme Court. Young master, what kind of existence is he? Thinking so, Mu Bing inhaled coldly and hadn't calmed down for a long time. With Sun Hao in front, she could still bear the pressure. Miss Mu Bing, you can choose one of the items here. Sun Hao said. After Sun Hao said that, the surrounding pressure suddenly disappeared. And then. Pretty girl, this old man is an ancient powerhouse. Take me to ensure you reach the pinnacle of life, and when fighting, no one is your opponent in all directions. Girl, I'm willing to be a sword in your hand. I'll kill for you whoever, whenever, wherever you want. Come on. You are obviously a clever girl. If you want to choose, you should choose this seat and suppress everything. A series of voices, like a clap of thunder, was booming in Mu Bing's mind. At this moment, she was utterly stunned. Compared with the previous amazement, it was like different pressures. Young master, how can this be? Mu Bing said. Why? Do you despise my statues? Sun Hao's face sank, and his anger was apparent. When she saw his expression, Mu Bing's face changed drastically, and she waved her hands again and again. Young master, I didn't mean that. What are you waiting for? Pick one. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Mu Bing looked nervous, picked up one of them, and held it in her hand. Young master, may I choose this one? Sure. Sun Hao looked at the statue of the dragon in Mu Bing's hand and was taken aback. It seemed that not everyone liked broken arm statues. He deliberately broke several statues and hid them among them so that they could find them. Thank you, young master. Mu Bing sent the dragon statue into her space ring, and her face was full of gratitude. The two walked out of the carving room and came to the pavilion. Mrs., it's still early. How about staying for dinner? Sun Hao said. Young master, I've wasted your time for a long time today, so let's say goodbye. After saying their farewell to Sun Hao, the two women ran straight down the mountain. A moment later. Mu Bing, have you realized it? Luo Luyen asked. Mu Bing's expression stagnated, and a look of fear appeared on her face for a while. What happened today was simply terrifying. First, the peerless demon immortal, then the supreme beast, then a warehouse full of top-grade spirit weapons. Even Thunder Tribulation disappeared. Every time, it almost scared her soul away. It was frightening. Mu Bing nodded. The young master is suggesting that I have too little black-veined immortal gold. He wants me to bring a little more. After Luo Luyen heard it, she shook his head for a while. Is this a hint? Is this a clear indication? Then what did you realize? Mu Bing asked. The young master accepts disciples, and this is both an opportunity and a test. Recently, the evil race has grown bigger, and the young master's first disciple must be the one who wiped out the evil race. Luo Luyen said. Hearing this, Mu Bing secretly nodded. He said that the stronger the strength, the better. What does this mean? You don't understand. This is his warning. Don't slack off. You must work hard. Also, the young master has woken you up and asked you to join us and destroy the evil race together. Are you willing? Luo Luyen said. I am willing. Mu Bing nodded heavily. *, join our Patreon for more chapters and hopefully we could post another exciting novels.